All right, guys, I hope you're having a great day today. And you didn't hear my whole spiel. My guy got locked up on my speed trader spiel. So I want to give them a proper promo here. So if you follow the show, you know we spend a lot of time covering the OTC, and one of the biggest frustrations is simply finding a broker that gives you access to the stocks you actually want to trade. The one reason why I use Speed Trader is because I can find those expert market shares that I can't buy through traditional brokerages. So, and here's something else I love, their customer service. When you call, an actual person answers the phone and helps you. If you're an active OTC trader looking for more access and great service, give Speed Trader a look. You'll find my link in the description below. So there it is, done properly. I don't want to waste time. Let's bring on the great Kiko. What is going on? How you doing?
I'm doing my thing. You know what I mean? I'm doing a summer thing. It's going to be time to lock in pretty heavily in a week or so. Yeah. Ready for action. We got a lot of decent movers going into September, and there'll be lots more to go. So I'm ready for action, baby.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to have a fantastic fall. We have a lot lined up, and I know you've been on top of it like a bum on a bologna sandwich. So we have a special guest, two special guests that are going to give us some updates today. And guys, remember, we're here for live due diligence. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Didi from the Sorts, that's why we're here. So I want to bring in first Roxy Green from HWAL. The stock has performed very nicely. They have a lot cooking. Let's bring her in, Roxy Green. Roxy Green, welcome back to the BFC. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, guys. That light's a little bright, isn't it?
I was about to say, are you on the sun?
Actually, the sun is in my face. Let me see if I can do something here.
There it is. That looks better. That looks good.
HWAL went past the moon.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's gone to
indicator. Well,
hey,
there's been a lot going on. You've had a ton of PRs as of late. But I want you just to use this time just to give people an update as to where the business is at. I've had some questions submitted from some people that have been watching the stock for quite a while now. And, you know, I got to say, I got to ask about the Hamptons connection and what's going on with that. If you guys didn't see, look at the most recent PR with what they have going on there. But I want you to explain it to everybody. So the floor is yours.
Well, when you started working with us, Eric, going back a couple of years ago, we were still in the fermenting stage. We were really restructuring, rebuilding, and along the way, we've established some incredible strategic partnerships and relationships that has really helped shape us where we are today. One of them includes Dallas Santana, working with a Momentum Media Fund, Space Blues companies. So in regards to the Hamptons, my partner, his strength is really film, TV, artist management, artist fashion. So that relationship was developed through his relationships, and we just seized an opportunity. We were invited to the Hamptons for some engagement to attend certain events, and he just elevated it to a much larger stake where we've now bridged a relationship with this great group that are going to host several family office meetings and wonderful communities, be it the Hamptons, New York, Palm Beach, over the next 3 months. And it's a symbiotic relationship where they're going to help with some production to, produce some of the shows on tape and then repurpose that. But it certainly is a great relationship for us to be in the room with them and telling our story to a much larger audience that we don't normally get a chance to speak to.
That's great. I want you to explain, when people hear Lunar Records, all right, what is Lunar Records?
Well, first of all, if you think about the major record labels, okay, they're holding companies of many, many labels, right? They've acquired them up. They've started them over the past 30, 40, 50 years. So think of Lunar Records as one of those baby companies, labels under our ownership. And our ownership is through our entertainment subsidiary, Melody Trust, has a partnership with Space Blues. So Lunar Records is a JV, jointly owned record company. And it's expanding not just to include music, but now it's bridging TV and film and other media properties as well through some of the projects we're involved with.
Excellent. And so that's I'm actually glad. It took me a couple months to understand, where the role was in that, and the connection between Space Blue and Melody Trust. And there's a lot going on there. I know we had a great conference call with a couple traders and myself and you the other day. And I know, Kiko, you're getting up to speed on this one as well, which is great.
Well, there's just so much going on, and and the more I hear, I'm just, it boggles the mind, the value. Like, it's crazy.
I want to brag on my partner Dallas Santana. When I met him in the mid of 23, it's when I took back the helm of this public company with the specific focus to start monetizing this catalog, and eventually, it to grow to a much larger company. And I met Dallas along the way, and what intrigued me the most is that how he thinks out of the box. But his real heart and conviction is the same as mine, and that is to disrupt the industry so that those that create media, music, particularly for our side of the house, gets paid. The writers and performers get paid. So we had, a really like mind and heart and spirit when we first met, and so that's been the mission that we've been on. And I say that, he when he first came to me, he said, "Look, I'm putting all this stuff up on the moon, major launch with my other partners. We would love to have you as a music partner with us. Would you want to be a part of this journey? We're not there yet, but we believe we're going to get there." And I was like, "Absolutely." Talk about disruption, not the other labels. But we as a label, we were successful with them. And, February 22nd, 24, we landed on the moon. I should say they landed on the moon, and we hitched a ride, right? Along with all the other art and IP that's resting on the moon now on this time capsule that was bolted on the lander. So, not only thinks big, he executes big. So I was very excited, and to this day, I'm still very proud to be his partner. So, what we are doing as a collective label, and all of the things that we do from this label, around this label, is very disruptive on all fronts. I'll give you an example. We produced our first NFT collection. They don't call them NFTs right now; they're called digital assets, and rightfully so. Around called the Summer of Love. We were successful with that, and that model that we beta with Tune FM worked. Who would have thought that you could generate $100 for a animated, video with music attached, but yet the music that's inside of that work is only 13, right? 15-second clips. It's 3 minutes. I think it's 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And when you break that out, the royalties payable to the artists and writers, it is 10 times what they're making in a download, and hundreds of times more in royalties than they might make in a stream of their songs. So that was our first attempt to find a disruptive manner where we're building new revenue generating products. So music can be put to work, can be monetized, and the artists and writers generate larger royalties than is standard in the industry and has been forever. So if you take that into contrast, what I'm getting ready to say, I saw one of the questions. We've already started proving out that revenues coming into our company right now is not in physical goods side, right? Like a CD sale or vinyl sale. It's coming from licensing our music, putting our music to work. Okay. So we have that aspect. And then we have the aspect that we formed a real tokenized fund, call it a fractionized fund, call it whatever you like, but it is putting our music to work. And the interest in that fund is held by our shareholders and other investors who are coming into the fund. They have a shared interest in the revenue and the royalty revenue that'll be generated inside this fund. We have licensed 1,000 of our songs to be put to work in the fund. And so the revenues that is coming to our company, first and foremost, came from the licensing of those tracks, And then because the Lunar Records Fund is owned half by our two companies, right? HWAL, Melody, and Space Blue, all the revenue that will be derived inside of that fund is shared by our company's shareholders. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the shareholders in the companies that will see the revenue by way of dividends, cash dividends in that regard. Lunar Records dividends will be cash dividends, okay, that we all own a piece in respectfully, which is why everyone should buy more stock. It's buy for the dividends, guys. It's a little too, but I'm saying that right now.
And that's been PR. That has been PR'd.
Yeah,
And
everyone should buy every share they can get because what's attached to it is dividends forthcoming and hopefully the rise of the company based on our performance, which I have no doubt we will be able to successfully execute as well. You have some more questions, or did you freeze up?
I think you might be frozen in time there.
Well, lob me a question.
Sure.
If anyone has wants to know what's going on in the fund activities, just go to lunarrecords.com. There's about 7 different areas of business projects that's part of the fund, including our relationship with our partners in South Korea with K-pop music, and all that will come out of that entire initiative. We're also tied to putting our music to work in the Last Stanley franchise called Legions of Five, which we're very excited about. Those movies are in production and games in production and soon to be released. Our music is attached inside of those properties. The Stanley properties are probably the leading revenue generated franchises in the world when it comes to entertainment. When you compare it to, Spider-Man and Marvel and Avengers and Tron and Black Panther and on and on and on. So we're very excited about the projects that we're attached to. And again, I have to say, these relationships were forged because of relationships that both our partner, Dallas Santana, and his companies hold and ours. So it's an incredibly well-matched partnership. And that's why I was late to the call. I was having a board meeting of our activities.
I by the way, everything just shut down here, so I'm glad you guys kept going because I lost everybody. So sometimes they disappear. It has to do with But guys, there's a reason why I have this stock on my my virtual laptop right there. If you haven't noticed, it is Hollywood pulled up there, and it is a channel right there. Just saying. All right, that's coming right from me. But I did have 2 questions that were submitted by Shido, 3 actually. So I was going to pull those up, and if you could answer those, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. I know he'd appreciate it. The trader community would appreciate it. I've been a shareholder and have been watching the stock closely for the last 2 years now. Anytime you are on a stream, you are confirming there is no dilution and there won't be any dilution in the stock. And all the while, you were saying that for the last 2 years, the DTC, the full basically has gone from 8 million to 24 plus million. That's a fact. So why is that the case? How many more shares are going to be dumped while we wait for any tangible progress on any front in the company? But I will correct them on the thing. There's been a lot of tangible progress on the company itself. So if you could answer that question, I'll pop up the other one.
Well, first of all, that was a mouthful.
It was.
I don't know if they had AI help write that or not, but thank you for the question. The fact, shut the door, please. Thank you. The fact of the matter, when I hear dilution, right, I think of the top number of how many shares are being issued new. Okay. I don't always speak of the float number, which I'll get to in a second. There is no more dilution. There'll be no more shares issued or authorized inside of this company. There was a cap placed on 2023, and it is all that's there, period. No more. That is a mandate by our board, and that is a mandate that we will keep in place. As for the word dilution, again, if your question is why has more shares come into the open market by way of going on deposit with the DTC, there's a real reason for that. First of all, 85% of the shares that are held in the open market is held by the family offices behind this company. They're not there to dump. They're there in preparation of new shareholders looking to make an investment in this company because it's the only shares available. So it's been increased shares have been added even recently for what we know is intended to happen here shortly. So there are buyers that we know are looking to buy equity in this company. So they have been set into brokerage firms that works with us that might be available for sale down the road.
Excellent. I want to ask a couple more questions here that we have. This one is from Shito as well, which brings me to my second question. I hear a lot about the so-called great value of the music catalog and intellectual property or whatever, but when will there be any tangible value coming up? And you had talked a little bit about this for shareholders, any real monetization of said assets or anything that will actually help improve the valuation of the company and therefore the stock price. And I don't mean talk of any sorts. I mean specific actions that will help get the valuation up that is so much higher in theory, apparently, according to you guys. So you talked a little bit about that just a bit ago. So if you could direct him or respond to him directly.
Well, my question is, did someone write this before we dropped our Q2 financial statements? Because I'm a little, I'm not sure where this question would come from after we just dropped those financials. We're trying to be as transparent as we possibly can, timely. What I can say is our shareholders can expect to see more similar. The revenues that we're reporting is, again, not for physical goods sales, but mainly licensing, music publishing, monetizing our catalog. We do expect to show, again, larger numbers before the end of the year. That'll be very substantial. So similarly, the music licensing business, which you license music for others' use, is the most profitable segment in the music industry. It's not the sale of a CD or cassette or vinyl as a label. The same thing as a songwriter. It's all royalties, so it's licensing the song for use. So you're going to see more activities that way. There's a lot in process right now that I can't discuss. You just have to read about it when we drop the news and disclosures.
And there, Shito, if you are listening, there's been a ton of PR lately in regards to how things are shaping up with this. And lastly, last question for you. And by the way, thank you for coming on and addressing shareholders. We expect to see more of you here. He asked about the $12.5 million digital assets held by Melody Trust. He says, what do they consist of? So what could you talk about that? Those are considerations, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Would you repeat it again, please?
He exactly said this. What do the $12.5 million digital assets held by Melody Trust consist of?
Yes, they are. I
don't think he's not talking about the catalog here. He's talking about the other assets that were just on the filings.
So the licensing revenue was paid in tokens in Lunar Records Fund, which are right now as a stable coin backed by Bitcoin. Right now, that value today is valued at 10% more than that because of the price of Bitcoin rising.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, and that's all connected to the fund, if I'm correct.
It is.
Okay. So we'll get more into that, the nuts and bolts of that as we have you on more, and so I appreciate you taking the time to come on and answer the questions. So Shito, I hope that answered your questions. I know like the fins look great, the asset looks great, the catalog valuation, which was independently evaluated, looks great. I'm pounding the table on this one. I like it. I've been buying it, so that's what I'm doing. So Roxy, any last words to the BFC and the OTC community?
Just this, I said that my partner and we think out of the box and we're disrupting the industry to some regards, which is where we're putting our mouth and our money. You're going to see upcoming news in the weeks to come where some of our investments is doubling down in the areas where AI and blockchain technologies are absolutely a part of our business agenda, our activities, how we are advancing the monetization of this catalog. So great stuff happening. Again, I can't speak about it just yet because it's not public, but very exciting what we're doing. And I know the shareholders are very excited. And by the way, that answers the question of more revenues, what they call it, tangible revenues. That's what we're building for, is huge revenues that becomes like, just a waterfall for all of us as shareholders.
Yes. And, I know Neil's waiting backstage and I got to get him on, but I do want to address one more thing, man. And thank you for that. Stock Guru Gal just popped this up, but I will say, guys, this has been a BFC winner. This stock has ran multiple times and there's been so many entrance opportunities, and not with low volume, but with high volume. And there was a shit ton of accumulation going on in the teens. And if you look, and the reason why I'm putting this right here, yeah, see, I'd be a bad weatherman. I'm just saying. If you look at that 11 to 14 mark, I think it is a total freaking buy right now. That's coming from me. That's not financial advice. This is just me being me. But Stock Guru Gal does say this, and I want you to address this real quick. Is Matt still funds the family office you were talking about?
No.
That note's done. It's no longer in it. It's a regular note now. It's going to be done in the next.
It was always just a note, not convertible note.
Got it.
By the end of next month, that'll be there'll be no liabilities on this company.
When do you hear that? When do you hear that?
I like the sound of it. I don't hear it often, but I like the sound.
It's true.
Roxy Green, Hollywell, thank you so much for joining. I look forward to having you on in the next couple of weeks for an update.
Thanks for your time, guys. Happy week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I honestly think, sorry for the technical difficulties I'm having here today. I don't know, like sometimes my computer, I need a new computer. I just need to freaking buy a new computer. I hold on to things too long.
Maybe it's caused by the trade war.
Trade war. Well, I'll tell you, I think HWAL is a freaking sleeper stock that could go ballistic based with all the value that they have. And Shido, you need to do due diligence on this one. You do. You got to
like,
really get it.
All the pieces are really coming together. And if you look at that chart on the daily, there's a flag building that you cannot ignore, bro. Can't ignore it.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right. Well, we got another one that is been doing a very, very nice job on the news front. I'm talking about ticker CVAT. Let's bring in Neil Voloshin of Cavitation Technologies. Hang on, let me get the bar muse. I'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. Neil, welcome back.
Hey, good to see you, man. All right, and hello, BFC. Kiko, I think I talked to you for the first time. And
yeah, a couple times. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Awesome.
Yeah, kids went to school today for the first day. We started late, and it's 102 degrees, so we're wonderful. So
back to school.
Here we go.
Back to school. Cheeto, he was asking about you, he was asking about Roxy, and he had a bunch of questions from his Discord, and so that's why I'm like, I got to get you guys on. Before I get into the questions, which I did send to you, so you have them, and I couldn't upload them because for some reason you can't put a question in the chat. You're only allowed so many characters, but give everybody an update as to where you're at. I know you sent something in last week, and then I'm going to get to these questions, and then I'm going to spare you, and you could get out of here. So the floor is yours.
So let me ask you this quick question. So if I don't answer the question, the photo picture background, is that what I'm going to get if I don't answer it right? Nicolas Cage. All right,
yeah, that's it. I'm going to send a Nicolas Cage over.
Yeah, there he is. All right, I'll do my utmost. All right. Well, look, I can obviously talk as much as what I'm permitted to talk, because right now I'm a bit kind of like within those parentheses, and I can only provide as much information that's available. What's interesting is the fact that some people reach out and tell us, well, listen, guys, you talk about information. Why would you be talking about it when the acquisition is being taking place? Well, if we don't talk about it, I receive a ton of questions, texts, emails. Well, could you enlighten us? And interestingly enough, when I even have in-person meetings, sometimes people ask me the same questions 5 times. And, I seem to be repeating it, even in the personal conversation, but would kind of go on and on and on. But anyway, you shoot. I'll try to give you as much information as I can, and let's go from there.
All right. So first question, the deal needs 90% of shares tendered. How confident are you that this will be reached? What percentage would you estimate is in strong hands that will tender, and how many will be on retail shoulders, approximately?
Well, I know my cap structure pretty well. And here's how we are positioned today. Shares that are floating is about, give or take, about 217 million shares, 217, something like that. And about 80 to 90 million shares in still DRS. We call it DRS because they're on deposit. They, haven't been moved into the account. So this is how we look at the flow. Now, the process itself, it's tedious. So what we need to do when we discuss, well, how confident I am, I need to make it in a way that a person can just push a couple of buttons and get the job done. And this is the reason why we're going through layers of paperwork to get the stuff done. For example, how confident I am that 90% of people will vote in. Well, I believe the valuation from CVAT is fairly good. I mean, based on the numbers that we currently have. Most likely people are going to vote. I mean, we have some very large shareholders. We have a lot of institutional guys. But even going into small retail investors, we got to make sure that information is at their hand, at the tip of their fingers. Information is very transparent, and people can actually act on it rather quickly. So a process. Once tender offer is filed, that's going to be by EGS first. I think it's regulation 14 something. Don't ask me on that. Then we as a board have about 10 days to reply back, whatever position the board is going to take. Really, at that point, the tender offer begins. So whatever is going to be 45, 60 days, that's the direction we're going. Again, we need to provide the transfer agent, how people can deposit those shares, if they have it in a brokerage account, what's going to take place. All of this just takes time. And again, we're compiling all of this, making sure that information is going to be disseminated to the investors in a very transparent way. Even the final question, well, once the shares are tendered, how am I going to get paid? Well, some people think once the shares are tendered, they're going to get paid immediately. No, it's not how it's going to work. When only, X number of percentage is going to be deposited, then the deal is consummated. Only after that, about 2 weeks after, you're going to get paid. So again, we need to provide this information in a very transparent way. So again, I think we're in a good shape. I mean, I cannot, speak out for about, 2,000 investors that I have, but, I speak to people frequently, and I think I'm getting positive feedback. Let's put it this way.
Right on. I got from the AK that obviously the price per share will decrease if between now and the closing of the deal, the OS increases. Do you anticipate any note guys or any other people to contribute to increase the OS until the closing, which could be a while away?
And here's the number. Let's say out of 35 million that is allocated toward cavitation. We need to have some operating capital, but let's just say, I'll just throw in the number just for simplicity of math. Let's say $500,000. What does it really represent? In terms of cents per share, 0.01, 0.01. I'm talking about 0.001, 0015. That's probably as far as it goes. Conversely, Alchemy Beverages is also in a play. If Alchemy's valuation comes out higher than 7 million, then CVAT shareholders will get extra cash. So it's a trade-off. So that's how the direction will go. So I do not see any fundamental change, for example, that let's say we come out and print, let's say 100 million shares or 50 million shares. It's just not going to happen. We just don't have it. So that's primarily how it would be. So, we are roughly about 10.5 cents per share. That's the range. We're probably going to end up within that range.
Well, he also asked about Alchemy. If there's no separate Alchemy deal, will the buying out be canceled? Is that contingent on that being done?
It is. I'll be frank with you. It is a possibility, but Alchemy is a much simpler thing in my mind. The only, here's part of the reason. Alchemy has, give or take, about 50, 60 shareholders. By the way, Alchemy, I run an operation in a way that almost like a public company. We have audited financials. We have all my shares are with the same transfer agent as CVAT. So we, again, I prep it more as a public company versus a private company. So I think the process is going to be fairly smooth. I do think that it is predicated on the fact, the closing of a transaction, that the valuation or fairness opinion will come in at a higher number. But at the very, very minimum, we have 7 million. So, it cannot go any lower. Just like for CVAT, it cannot go any lower than 35 million. So again, like anything else in life, I mean, I've been in this business long enough. So I'll be frank with you that until the money's in the bank, any deal can fall apart. I'm just the nature of the beast. Now, are we doing everything of putting together and being transparent? Absolutely.
Yeah. He did ask about the timeline, if the deal does happen, that is about the 30-day extension and then the review. So you did talk a little bit about that. So this is a deal that's going to take some time. It's moving in the right direction. And I think we just need to take our time. Like I was talking to you the other day,
right?
And you said it right out. There's no rush. Get it done right. And like you said, until money's in the bank, anything could happen. So you got to do your due diligence like you're doing. You got to be efficient in regards to the stacks of paperwork that you guys are continually doing. Right. But I do want to ask, what was your take on the very soft reaction on the stock price ever since that buyout proposal was announced? I know you can barely comment on the stock or its trading, but I figure it gives you some head scratching as well. So do you like the market response to the buyout announcement?
Look, I can only say as much as I can, mate, but here's where we are. Let me go back a little bit when we first announced an LOI and why it took it a lot longer than we had anticipated. Because look, one company, CVAT, is public. We're a Nevada corporation. Alchemy Beverages is a private. It's a Delaware corporation. Slightly different mechanisms how it's going to work. Different tendencies as far as public company and a private company. Give you a prime example. This morning, we're going to actually file an 8K for Alchemy Beverages because the agreement is signed. Well, we've done all the preliminary work, but we couldn't do it because we couldn't do it under CVAT symbol, although the deal is very close. So we were rejected by Edgar, and we'll be doing a press release and providing all the links so investors can actually see what definitive purchase agreement is going to be like. So, I mean, I thought it's going to be okay with an 8K. It didn't. Sometimes it just takes extra time. So when we look at things as far as what they go, it's not the question that I want to procrastinate. It's a question of how methodically we get things done. Give you an example. Our fiscal year is June 30th. We're going to be reporting within the next, give or take about a month, give or take a bit less than that. And it's another important element because now we have fully financial statements. SEC can look at that as well. It just pieces. All of a sudden, investors are going to look and say, all right, are you going to file your 10K? You're going to be on time, so on and so forth. So again, we're looking, it's a freeway, but it's a long freeway. I mean, we go from point A to point B, no matter how fast we go, it's still going to take time. So again, my biggest thing and my biggest challenge is to make sure that we're going to be transparent in everything we do, communicate with the investment community, shareholders, future shareholders, and that's the direction we'll go. That's probably the best I can assess and tell you what, how things move along. Now, from the timeline that we're looking at, from a regulatory perspective, EGS, this is the company that is acquiring CVAT and Alchemy Beverages, they should be filing TO by the end of this week. So this is not, I know time goes by, but they're going to be filing by the end of this week. Then our board will have about 10 days to respond. So that this is conceptually, why would the market not? Because we're OTC. I mean, if I had General Electric offering a deal, likely nobody would ask a question. But, we have an EGS company based out of Europe and had an investment base. And it's typical OTC markets. I mean, investors are a bit apprehensive. Once tender offer is filed, they think we're going to have more reaction to the stock as well. So I live this every day because people ask, why is it not happening? Eric, Kiko, I don't know. I mean, we're trying to do the best I can. I mean, we're going to file information, provide information once it becomes available.
Excellent. Well, thanks for taking the time to update us. I know that this has been a long journey since the announcement. I know that you're navigating through the waters, the treacherous waters of a buyout, and you know, when you're dealing with millions of dollars and stock and a fully owned subsidiary, in addition to all that's an extra curveball that, you know, that is in this deal that's not necessarily in a bunch of other deals too. So it has that extra element. And honestly, as a shareholder, I want you to take your time and I want you to get as high a value for that as possible, because it means more money for the CVAT shareholders. So I thank you for taking your time. If you had anything, Kiko, that's fine.
No, I think, you know, because I theorized, you know, when people were saying, what's up with this market reaction, you know, and I think once you get it done, the deal done and papered and everything, and people really see it, it'll be a different story. But, you know, you got an audience, you know, where they say, well, I've heard it all, you know, and it never came true. And, you know, so I think, you know, it's just a matter of continuing to do the good work you're doing. And then, you know, once you know, you get to the follow through point, then it'll happen, you know. But, you know, OTC traders have been through a lot in terms of disappointment. And I think you're right in your assessment. You know, people are wary, and in time it'll come around.
Agreed. You said it.
Yep. Neil Voloshin, really good having you on again. I look forward to our next up.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Take care.
Was I just talking muted to him the whole time?
Dude, all I saw was like,
well, oh hell no, man.
I'm just kidding with you. Well, we all started talking at the end. No, I can hear you.
Oh, I see. When you did when you did the transition, it auto muted me.
Yeah, it does, because when this program, you do any visual and then it mutes your mic. Which is
he reacted to something, and I was like, "Are you guys just placating me? Like, good boy, good talking movements."
Yeah, no, we weren't. Hey. Well, that's like when I had the Speed Trader come on after the intro. I did a really banging job on that promotion. Then I realized I didn't even add myself to the stage, so you couldn't hear anything. It was a Speed Trader. I'm like, well, damn it.
Yeah, sit there and look at this.
I gotta give them the proper intro. So I don't know. And then, you know, sometimes it's just tech world. Sometimes I should have, you know what I should have done? I should have let you think the whole time that you were muted.
I was mortified there because I was doing a whole song and dad, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, yeah, cool, bro. You know, like
I love those two stocks. I love them. They've been winners for the BFC big time. So pick a winner. There you go. There you have it. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's talk about a couple others that have had some nice runs since we've mentioned them. AGCI. All right.
You know,
is this
ahead, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, if you want to, I don't even know where my stream aired. Oh, there it is. All right. So let's talk about why this one has caught our eye. They signed an LOI to potentially acquire the Shamrock Nickel Copper Project in Oregon. We're talking about 40 mining claims covering about 750 acres with nickel, copper, and platinum group metals. And so, but here's a number that really jumps off the page to me is $150,000. All right, that's the proposed cash acquisition price, plus about $8,500 for claim renewals. Now, this is exploration stage. All right, guys, it's an LOI. Due diligence still needs to be done. And nobody should be valuing this like they're already proven like a huge, massive resource. But think about the potential risk reward here. If you spend $150,000 to control 758 acres and the historical work leads to something substantial, the potential ROI could get very interesting. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Copper and other critical minerals are becoming increasingly important for the power grid, data centers, AI infrastructure. We talk about that all the time. EVs, electrification. So for me, it becomes pretty simple. That $150,000, what does it get? AGCI. That's what I'm going to be looking for there, because the risk reward and the return on investment is the big question. So, I mean, that's like less than what my house is valued at. And so if they are sitting on some huge assets there, look out, especially ones that could help aid the AI infrastructure. And if you look at their share structure, it's looking nice. Hell, at DTC is 100 mil. It's sitting at 3 cents right now. The market cap's 25 million. So just do the math. There's a lot of upside here, and then we have the connection of Richard Hawkins, and you may recognize his name from AMFN, which, holy crap, dub 1 to what, 19, 20 cents?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Let's why don't you tell us a little bit more about this one?
Well, what's interesting about it, and what people, kind of have to wrap their head around is like, gold is because we're dealing with currency destruction right now due to printing, right? And more printing to come probably, and definitely. And
I was going to say definitely.
The gold price is mooning, but in addition to that, with the AI data centers, copper demand is going through the roof. You know what I mean? And they're saying that they can't even meet the upcoming demand. So, this thing is a bullseye. But the other point I wanted to talk about on this one is right here.
Yep, there you are.
They have a whole bunch of shares that are in litigation, and the success there is gonna cause a 50% over 50% reduction in issued and outstanding shares. So this thing gets real thin real quick. You know what I mean? And so I think that this one is serious potential. And then from a chart perspective, I mean, since the ticker change, you can see it's pushed through the resistance. It's remaining above it, and you got something pretty big there with an audience in we call them hawkheads. I mean,
hawkheads.
Richard Hawkheads. Hawkheads at. They love AMFN, and he's done very well by them there. And this is definitely on their radar. And resistance break there on the daily is something to be mindful of, because you're getting into smashing that resistance in a month with way more volume. So look out, bro.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, and especially because of all the hawkheads out there.
Where my hawkheads at?
Where are my hawkheads at? Here's another one that actually closed it in force today. Not on super high volume, but I'll let you handle the chart on that. But I'll just share this piece of news and go over the security details here. But this is where I'm at with this one. Listen, this is still a tiny company, guys. All right, and there's plenty of risk here. They need revenue. They need to execute, and they absolutely cannot destroy the share structure trying to fund everything they want to do. But I like that we're finally getting things we can actually measure, like RoboAgent is launching, all right? TCDC prototypes are supposed to give us real numbers. Management says they're working on acquisitions, and they've told us they don't want to use that $30 million equity line at these prices. And and we covered that in the interview. You remember that. So show me RoboAgent customers. Show me a working TCDC. Show me the economics. Show me an acquisition that actually closes and keep the dilution under control. And he mentioned that. And if they do these things, to me personally, I think that it gets really interesting. If they don't, then it's just going to be an OTC company, that we've seen these types of stories before. But that's what it really comes down to. And I want to share this, and then you could jump on a chart if you want.
Yeah.
I want to share a couple clips from our interview, because I think he's made it very clear, and this is him talking about the Series A strategy as well as the acquisition strategy. So take a listen to this real quick. You have said you want a new Series A approach in place by September 30th. What alternatives are currently being discussed with the 5 institutional holders? And if no agreement, and I have to ask this, if no agreement is reached by September 30th, could the old redemption mechanism return?
Yeah, I mean, we're evaluating several alternatives, including a non-convertible perpetual preferred, a term preferred, or another class perhaps of non-trade equity. The key objective is to replace an instrument that is treated as a liability because of its mandatory redemption feature with a structure that strengthens the balance sheet and does not pressure the common stock. As I mentioned, we have a strong relationship with the 5 institutional holders. They're cooperative, and the consent needed to restructure the instrument is there. Our target does remain September 30th. I do not expect the old mechanism simply to return. The board stopped it because it was not producing the intended result, right? So the final structure is still being determined, but our guiding principles are clear. No unnecessary dilution, fair treatment of the holders, and a healthier balance sheet for the company. We also expect to make meaningful progress on acquisitions. We just talked about it a little bit, but we'll only announce, as I mentioned, a transaction when it's real and capable of closing. I would say this: for nearly 3 years, we have rebuilt the company on very limited capital and kept overhead extremely lean. The next phase, is to invest selectively behind the business we've developed and produce measurable operating results.
Okay, so I like what we saw there. And real quick, these are the security details. We got 17 million at the DTC, $1.6 million market cap. There is a ton of upside for this one. And I'm glad that somebody smacked it and it's closed in the 4s. There were only about 120,000 shares traded today, but it's positive movement, especially in the midst of this campaign of getting some eyes on this stock. It's nice to see some positive momentum and not the stock not being trashed by insider selling. So you could I'll pull your stuff up right here. There you go.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at it, and we were started to talk about and did our interview kind of in the mid 2s there, and low mid 2s, and you see that it's giving price action on less volume, which is really what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like that's that's what you're looking for with these things, and I maintain that. From the perspective of data centers, like the data centers, are a real hot button issue. And so the fact that these guys have an idea to decentralize them, miniaturize a bunch of mini data centers that then, kick back revenue to the people that are hosting them in their home with the TC-DC units, like that's actually crazy tech. You know what I mean? And so, from a chart perspective, it's there. From a share structure perspective, as you showed, it's there. So it's just a matter of continuing the momentum. But we kind of pegged the bottom there the other day, and now we're starting to see some upward movement. So you're gonna, you got another channel break here once you break kind of that 6s, you've broken that kind of post split channel there. Where you can get into just unbelievable upside. So the time will tell. But right now, look out.
Yeah, it was great. We did that interview, and the next day I think we had about 1 million in volume, which is great. And that was very nice to see.
Sorry to interject, but the other thing I'll say is that, people saying, well, it's not a high volume day, but it's also not a high volume day in the sense that there's a bunch of selling. You know what I mean? And so, demand is being created in the absence of, you know what I mean? And so you're seeing that. So there's a possibility that this could do a lot more here.
Absolutely. All right. There's another one I wanted to bring up that we've talked about. And we've covered it. So I think we started this about a week and a half ago. And this one spiked up. I'll let you handle the retraction in the chart, but this was their most recent PR, and Fastbase AI says it's preparing to launch the beta of its new AI business search in the coming weeks. So instead of going through a traditional business database and messing around with like a bunch of filters, you're going to be able to do something like type in, find me cybersecurity companies in Scandinavia that work with banks. It's an example they gave. And the AI is designed to search the database and bring back relevant companies. And where it gets interesting is that this is only like the first piece of the puzzle. They're also planning AI buyer intent, which is designed to help identify companies actually showing interest in certain products and services and AI market discovery, which is designed to help businesses find new markets and potential customers. So basically, it's find the companies, identify potential buyers, and discover new markets using AI. So they just announced this acquisition of Fast-Based AI, STJO did, on August 14th. And now we're already getting ready for another catalyst coming up. And so security details here. Look at 3.3 million market cap, and held at DTC is 15 million. I'll talk about the disappointment because we had a really nice surge in share price. And we had an influx of volume, but yeah, well, they'll just show you what's up.
Yeah. So there was definitely some selling there, and you know, it looked like it was just going to be you know, an outer space, you know, SKFG type gapper.
Yeah.
And you know, the reason that I've been excited about it is because the first time that Fast-Based tried to get a public vehicle a few years ago, I mean, it was a huge move. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of excitement about Fast-Based. And so, you know, I'm not ready. You know, obviously the price action has been disappointing. To see it retrace to kind of where it started is frustrating. But I wouldn't necessarily count it out yet. And you know, as they move forward, you saw on the OTC Markets profile page, they did get they did put a Fast-Based logo on it. So, you know, they do have control of the page. And will move forward with a name change, and that's in process with FINRA apparently. And so there's still a lot to come. And sometimes, you know, I could argue, for instance, on ONAR, there was a very similar situation that happened. You know, in July, it made a phenomenal move, you know, 200%. And came back down some selling, and everyone goes, oh well, you know, that's it. And then next thing you know, the people who were keen on grabbing the dip there are up massively, 10x. You know, so we've seen that on ONAR, we've seen that on Biodaptives. You know, Biodaptives was similar as well. That, you know, you saw that you saw it get you know, a little pop and then get run down, and then even more so, you saw it happen a second time and run even bigger. So, you know, I understand the last few days has not been ideal, but you know, this Fast-Based thing has captured the attention of retail a lot in the past, and I'm going to be still focused on it and keeping an eye on it. So,
yeah.
You know.
Oh, by the way, Stock Guru talked about, was back to MITI. Do these MITI institutional holders have any more stock they are selling? Not seeing much overhang. I don't think that they are. I don't think they have much left. I think what's out there is out there. I think those MITI numbers on OTC Markets are not right. That's a possibility. I don't think there's much overhang. There was only 125 of overhang on MITI today. That was it. So super upside. There's tons of upside on this one. And I think that the September 30th key is date. Date is key, I should say. I'm reading my words backwards over there. My goodness. So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, let's do our speed round.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a bunch of tickers pulled up. I got insight into them, and let's shoot through it. You ready?
It's all yours. Let's go.
Okay, AUTR. So these guys are sharp dudes. I mean, these guys, they've got a load of Bitcoin, ton of Bitcoin, and then a bunch of real estate assets in kind of southern hemisphere there. And they put out news all the time about how they're purchasing shares on the open market. They're not lying. They do. They have a lot of institutional holders that are holding on very tightly. And finally today, a shot of volume for them, and a well-deserved one when you think about a company that really is very, like, from a balance sheet perspective and a management perspective, very, very valuable. So I would certainly keep an eye on this. It has been very tough from a retail interest perspective. But to recover this move back to the 5s and then break through that, you might be seeing something that's very excellent. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. ADTX, this is SEC delinquent, but not 100% sure if they're going to be coming with the filing soon. But another great relief bounce, and really what you would describe as a dilution play, that's had a wonderful bounce. So they have a stock purchase agreement going on, and a bunch of other things, an acquisition in the works, and finally today it took off. So a very nice move there, and long overdue. I was talking about that one a while back now. AEFI, the old ECOX. This is, some say that this is really the sister stock, or the little sis. Little sis. Say, hey, little sis, right? That's what they say to AMFN, because they're into the eco fuels and the fusion and stuff like that. And this is kind of a long overdue bounce. They had a really nice update out today, how they're expanding on their energy platforms, and from a chart perspective, there, Lil Sis is had a nice breakout here at long last. So, I think this could certainly, it is heavier on the share structure for sure, which is why you see it's very wicky. But coming off this trend line here, and working its way up that trend line, not a bad stock at all. MITI talked about it. Dyna is a offbeat one, not necessarily a volume leader today. I think it only had $1,700 in, but people have been picking at this the last 3 sessions now. 3 sessions they've been picking at this Dyna. 4 million DTC. 4 million DTC.
That's crazy.
And this is one that I
Dynamite
feel like it's just going to pop up and bite you one day.
It is.
I don't know what day it is.
Explode.
But someone over the last, because you see here, that's 3 days in a row of this type of volume, as where before it was very, very spotty. So maybe there's something happening behind the scenes there. Dyna, I would certainly keep an eye on it and do some digging on it. Free flow, what is it? Even flow, you know what I mean? You heard about free flow.
It's about the only words I know of the song, because I can't understand that. I can't understand
something about butterfly as well. Butterfly. But that's it. That's all I know about it. Even flow and then butterfly. Everything else is just and then
it's like Mitch McConnell. That's like if he was singing.
Even flow. They had in their filing the other day that they are becoming an oil and gas company with a name and ticker change on the way. Setup wise, Dynamite, I don't think it's actually 168 DTC, although that would be awesome if it was. I think there's an error there. But they've been picking at this. This could be another one. Like if you look at this chart, there's nobody here, bro. Like this is it. Like this is from 2015. So this could just go crazy as they begin to roll out that name and ticker change to the oil and gas thing. Very interesting there. CVAT, barely any volume today. Really good setup. They used to be called Cipher Core. They're still the same business. They're into quantum. They have encryption for quantum computing. So they use a cipher to encrypt against quantum computers. These are some guys out of Japan who are just absolute freaking brainiacs. So, whoever filled those O2s might be a very happy camper at some point. And, I picked up back more than a year ago now, had a huge move on it. And now it's come back down, and you might, if you were to get some down here on Seeky, you might be a real happy camper. Seeky Deeky.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Seeky Deeky. MBAR, our boy Mark, with an update today, and it's really nice to hear from him again because he is such a sharp guy.
Yeah.
And, we've got holding up, nice technical bounce here. Nice tweet update from them about some of the acquisitions.
I missed that one today.
More.
How did I miss that one? Because I got them on.
Nice little bounce. Nice little bounce.
Check my alerts right now.
And through that kind of second resistance there, back into a decent zone. So we'll see if Mark continues to deliver, but he's not diluting. He doesn't. He's not a seller. This guy.
No.
This guy is a diamond-handed MF.
Yeah.
Bare minimum diamond. We might be talking about hand materials that are beyond diamond.
Yeah. Something that hasn't been discovered yet.
Yeah. Blue Star Opportunities, just an excellent setup. I don't know why I pulled it up. It's just really good. I don't know what it's going to take there. I understood that they were doing a merger or something of some sort. So I keep an eye on that. SICP, Silvergate Corporation, as you know, this is the collapsed bank. Picked up 60 last week. It's floating between 75 and 80, but I wouldn't count out Silvergate for another move because it is this is something of like international concern. Like, I mean, this is a shell that has institutional level Peter Thiel ass level bag holders that, for real, that might go for it. And then the story, as far as, the Biden administration, who is notably anti-crypto, may have forced them into this situation of having to collapse the bank. And there's a story there that might be very good. SNRY, our guys here are putting together something beautiful, dare I say. And, I'm very sad. Like, it makes me sad to even talk about it, because when it came off the Grays, I had put in a purchase order for a bunch around trip 2, trip 3. And this summer has been the summer of cease trades for me in Canada. I've gotten hit on so many of them. But I continue to shout it out because I think that these guys, whoever's behind the boards on that one, really does understand the OTC and understands that it's time to do something different. It's time to treat shareholders well. And I think it's not only been a great move so far, but it is about to be an even better one. So I would certainly be keeping an eye on that. And that's just a few out of the old vault there for a speed round.
Yeah, love it. That's great. And by the way, AUTR, I covered them before. It's been a while. Been a while since I covered them, but I guess they
very sharp guys. Very sharp guys.
Yeah. They had, what was it? They just had news. I'm looking now. Oh yeah, CEO speaking at Paraguay Bitcoin conference in Scouting Land. So like, it's nice to see that they had news today. So great structure there. That one can have some huge upside. We're really, there's a lot going on. And I think this is just, we're preparing for a really strong fall. And that's it. It's fall time. It's time.
Oh, and then the other one, SBIG.
Oh yeah, it's big.
Dub 2. I given out Dub 2 and almost tapped a penny today.
Yep. That was a great move.
SBIG, and honestly, when they smashed that penny mark, there's nothing there. There's no debt there. There's nothing. Like, it could just go and go and go. So don't come crying to me if they break a penny and you went, oh, I thought it was too high. Oh, I thought it was too high. Don't come crying to me. If it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7.
Really? Yeah, we couldn't escape it. Not even on the show. Damn it. You heard
6,
it.
7.
You heard what he said. It's going to 6, 7 cents. It's like the whole I can't take it. I'm going back to my other job tomorrow. And I'm gonna have to probably still hear that, even though it's another school year.
Yeah.
We're at this 2 years now.
I'm not hearing it as much around the house. I'll tell you that. Like, from the youth of this house. I'm not hearing it as much.
The youths.
The youths.
The youths.
We got 2 youth.
2 youths. You got 2 youths. I got 2 youths. Well, I think a lot to unpack here, guys. Great speed round. We did a little DD on a couple that we've been covering, and we had 2 great guests, Roxy Green of Holywall and Neil Voloshin of CVAT. One's looking for about, the other one it has crazy value, and I love the chart of Hollywell. I love it. There it is. I'm leaving it up there.
She's putting it all together. You know, it's like sometimes it's like the dish, you know, you're making all these great ingredients, and now she's finally plating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then, you know, and Gordon Ramsay's looking at it, and before he was like, it's raw, you know, but now she's plating it and it's looking good as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. She's going to get a rare compliment from Chef Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay likes this stock.
Yeah. If you ever, I don't know if you're a South Park guy or not, but I love when they do the Gordon Ramsay impression. I think it's freaking hysterical.
That was good. And the Chris Hansen on there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was near and dear to you. I know that.
No.
All right. Well, guys, that's it. That's all I have. Kiko, thanks for joining me. And
of course,
we're going to do this again next week. And we're just going to keep them coming, guys, because the OTC is alive and well. So have a great night, everybody.
See ya.